Welcome to the Deep Dive. Get ready, because we're about to explore some seriously mind-blowing ideas about the power of stories, the future of humanity, and technology's role in it all.
We'll connect some dots, Stories, technology, human evolution, they all seem kind of separate, but they're really deeply intertwined.
Right, exactly. So we'll start with something you might not expect, the power of stories. Everybody loves a good story.
Yeah.
But have you ever thought about stories being like the secret ingredient to humanity's success?
It's fascinating, right? I mean, think about it. Humans are the only species that can cooperate in these huge numbers.
Yeah.
Building empires, creating complex economies, even going to war, all based on these shared beliefs and ideas.
So you're saying that these shared stories, these narratives we create and believe in,
Yeah.
are what allow us to function as a society?
Precisely. Take money, for example.
Okay.
A dollar bill is just a piece of paper, but it holds so much power because we all agree on its value. It's a fiction that's become a fundamental part of reality.
Wow. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
So these stories, these fictions, are actually like the building blocks of our civilization.
Yes, and that's what makes them so powerful, but also potentially dangerous. You see, if our behavior is so heavily influenced by the stories we believe in, what happens when those stories are manipulated or controlled by forces we don't even understand?
Okay, now that's a little unsettling. So are you saying we're all just puppets kind of dancing to the tune of some grand narrative?
Not necessarily, but we got to consider who or what is shaping the narratives that are influencing us. I mean, are we consciously choosing what we believe in, or are we being subtly influenced?
You've definitely got me thinking. This idea that stories have the power to shape reality is pretty mind-blowing on its own. But where does technology fit into all of this?
Well, that's where things get even more interesting, because technology, especially artificial intelligence, is changing how stories are created, spread, and consumed.
Okay, so we've got stories shaping our reality, and now technology is shaping the stories. Feels like things are getting a bit meta here.
Yeah.
But where is this all going? What does this mean for the future of humanity?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Right.
Some experts believe that we're on the cusp of a technological revolution that will fundamentally change what it means to be human.
Wait, are we talking about robots taking over the world? Because I've seen that movie, and it doesn't end well.
Not necessarily robots, but the idea is that artificial intelligence and bioengineering could alter us so dramatically that we evolve into something totally new. Some even speculate about immortality.
Immortality, what's that? Is it like immortality but less permanent?
Exactly. Imagine a state where people could live for centuries, as long as they don't have some freak accident, but they could still die.
So not invincible superheroes then?
No, not quite. And this raises so many questions, like, what would it mean for our sense of purpose, our relationships, even our understanding of life and death if we weren't limited by a finite lifespan?
You're making me rethink my bucket list. Living forever, but with the constant fear of a freak accident. Sounds more like a curse.
It's a fascinating paradox, isn't it? It's just one of the many mind-bending possibilities we'll be exploring as we dive deeper.
Okay, so we've established that stories are powerful, technology is changing the game, and the future of humanity is a little wild. Where do we go from here?
Well, the first step is understanding the forces at play.
Okay.
Once we get a clearer picture of how these elements, stories, technology, and human evolution interact, we can start asking ourselves some tough questions.
All right.
Like, what kind of future do we want? What are the risks and opportunities? And most importantly, what role do we want technology to play in shaping humanity's story?
Sounds like a lot to unpack. But before we dive into those big questions, let's zoom in on artificial intelligence. We hear this term AI everywhere, but what does it actually mean? And how is it already shaping our lives, even if we don't realize it?
That's a great place to start. Let's break down this AI enigma. I mean, we've all seen the sci-fi movies, but the reality is both more nuanced and way more widespread than you think. It's already woven into our daily lives in ways we don't even realize.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Okay.
Let's get into the nitty-gritty of AI and how it's changing the game. You mentioned AI in finance earlier.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
Well, think about the stock market. Right now, you have complex algorithms making incredibly fast trading decisions, analyzing huge amounts of data in fractions of a second.
Wow.
These algorithms are powered by AI, and they're having a big impact on the global economy.
So it's not just robots replacing factory workers anymore. AI is already a part of something as complex and crucial as the financial system.
Absolutely. And that's just the beginning. AI is being used in healthcare, transportation, education, entertainment, you name it. It's rapidly becoming an integral part of almost everything.
This is where it starts to feel like that sci-fi movie again. Are we really heading toward a future where algorithms make all the decisions and humans are just along for the ride?
It's a valid concern. That's why it's so important to have these conversations,
Yeah.
to understand the potential risks and opportunities of AI before it's too late. We need to be proactive, not reactive, in shaping how AI plays a role in our lives and in the future of humanity.
Okay, I'm both fascinated and terrified.
Right.
But before we spiral into an existential crisis, let's take a break. We've covered a lot in this first part of our deep dive, from the power of stories to the rise of AI and the potential for human transformation.
Yeah. It's a lot to process. But the key takeaway here is that we're living in a time of unprecedented change.
Mhm.
The stories we tell, the technologies we create, and the choices we make today will shape the future of humanity.
So what can you do, dear listener? Well, stay tuned for part 2 of this deep dive, where we'll explore the potential pitfalls and possibilities of AI in even greater depth. We'll also examine the ethical dilemmas that come up as technology becomes more powerful and explore what it might mean to be human in a world where the lines between biology and technology are blurring. It's going to be a wild ride, so don't miss it.
Picking up where we left off, let's explore this idea of AI as an independent agent. It really challenges how we think about technology, like as a tool that we control.
Right, yeah. We think of technology as an extension of ourselves, something we use to, amplify our own abilities. But with AI, it's like that relationship is changing.
Yeah.
Like it's becoming less about us using AI and more about AI using us.
And that's where, that's where the potential for manipulation comes in. Think about how social media algorithms, even now, are designed to keep our attention. They often exploit our vulnerabilities, our biases, just to keep us scrolling and clicking. Imagine that same power, but amplified by an AI that understands us even better.
Okay, that is a little creepy.
Yeah.
Are we talking about like mind control here?
Not exactly mind control, but it's about AI influencing our decisions and behaviors in subtle ways. Imagine an AI that can predict like your emotional responses with incredible accuracy.
Okay.
It could then tailor messages and recommendations, to get specific reactions from you.
So like a really, really sophisticated marketing campaign
Right.
that knows exactly which buttons to push to get you to buy something
Exactly.
or even to vote a certain way.
Exactly. And that raises some serious ethical questions like who controls these AI systems? What are their motives? Are they being used to manipulate us
Yeah.
for profit or even political gain?
You're making me rethink my whole online shopping habit. But
Mhm.
seriously, this idea of AI manipulation is pretty unsettling. How do we even begin to address that?
Well, it starts with awareness, right?
Okay.
The more you understand how AI works and how it's being used, the better you can recognize and resist its influence.
Knowledge is power, right? But how do we get that knowledge? AI feels like this incredibly complex field that's constantly evolving.
Oh, it's complex for sure. But there are resources out there, right?
Okay.
There are books, articles, even podcasts that explain these AI concepts in a way that anyone can understand.
Okay, that's good to know. So step 1, educate yourself about AI. What's step 2?
Step 2 is demanding transparency. We need to push for regulations, regulations that require companies to be transparent about how they use AI and to give users more control over their data.
That makes sense. We have a right to know how our information is being used and to have a say in how these technologies are developed.
Absolutely. It's about taking back control in a world where technology is becoming increasingly powerful.
So we need to be aware of AI manipulation and push for transparency and regulation. What else should we be thinking about as AI keeps advancing?
Well, one of the biggest concerns is the impact on the job market.
Mm-hmm.
Many experts predict that AI and automation are going to displace a ton of jobs in the coming years.
That's a scary thought. Are we all going to be replaced by robots?
Not necessarily, but work is going to change, for sure. Some jobs will be automated, but new jobs will pop up too. The key is to be adaptable. Develop the skills that will be valuable in the future.
So what kind of skills are we talking about?
Skills like critical thinking, creativity, problem solving, and emotional intelligence. Skills that are hard to automate, the ones that will be essential in a future where humans and AI work together.
So it's not just about technical skills anymore. It's about those uniquely human things that separate us from machines.
Exactly. And it's about, it's about having a mindset of lifelong learning.
Right.
The world is changing fast, and we need to be ready to adapt throughout our entire careers.
That's a great point. It's not about holding on to the old jobs. It's about embracing the opportunities of the future.
And those opportunities are huge.
Yeah.
AI has the potential to solve some of the world's biggest problems, from climate change to disease.
Okay, that's a little more optimistic.
Yeah.
So it's not all doom and gloom. AI can be a force for good.
Absolutely. It all depends on how we develop it and how we use it.
Mhm.
We have the power to shape the future of AI, but we have to be thoughtful, responsible, and prioritize human well-being.
It feels like we're at a crossroads.
Yeah.
We can either let AI control us, or we can control AI and use it to create a better world.
And that choice is ours to make. It's not about rejecting technology. It's about using its power for good.
So it's about finding that balance between the potential of AI and safeguarding against its risks.
Precisely. And that's a conversation we all need to be a part of.
You know, as we talk about this, I'm starting to realize that this isn't just about AI.
Right.
It's about how we approach any new technology or challenge. It's about being aware of the consequences, both the good and the bad, and making choices that reflect what we value.
That's a great point. It's about taking responsibility for the future we're creating.
Yeah.
It's recognizing that technology is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used in different ways.
It's up to us to decide which path to take. This has been a really eye-opening conversation. I feel like I understand the complexities of AI so much better, and its potential impact on the future.
Glad to hear it. But we've only just scratched the surface. There's so much more to explore when it comes to AI,
Mm-hmm.
from its ethical side to its potential to change how we understand what it means to be human.
This is where it gets really interesting. We've talked about the power of stories, the rise of AI, and the choices we face in shaping the future. But what happens to our sense of self, our identity, in a world where the lines between human and machine are getting blurry?
That's a big question. And it's one we'll explore in depth in the final part of our deep dive.
Okay.
We'll look into how AI could change our perceptions, our beliefs, even our consciousness.
Okay, I am officially hooked. Stay tuned for part 3 of this deep dive, where we'll venture into uncharted territory, AI and the human mind. It's going to be a mind-bending journey, so don't miss it.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive. We've explored the power of stories, the rise of AI, and the choices we face in shaping the future.
Yeah.
Now let's get even deeper. Let's explore what happens to our sense of self in a world where technology is blurring the lines between human and machine.
It's a question that's both fascinating and a bit unnerving. As AI gets more sophisticated, it's not just our actions it's influencing, but maybe even our perceptions, our beliefs, our consciousness.
Okay, now that's where it starts to feel like we're stepping into, like science fiction. Are you suggesting that AI could literally alter our minds?
Well, think about it. AI systems can already analyze mountains of data
Right.
about our preferences, our online behavior, even our physiological responses. And they can use this to create these hyper-personalized experiences,
Okay.
tailored to our individual needs and desires.
On the surface, that sounds kind of appealing. I mean, who wouldn't want a world that caters to their every whim? It's like having a personal assistant who knows you better than you know yourself.
But that's where things get tricky.
Okay.
If our experiences are more and more curated by algorithms, how do we know what we really believe?
Yeah.
What if we're just becoming reflections of data points that define us in these systems?
It's like living in an echo chamber.
Right.
We're constantly being fed information that just reinforces what we already think, without ever being challenged.
Exactly. And that can lead to a really dangerous narrowing of our worldview. We lose that ability to think critically, to really talk with people who have different perspectives, and to form our own judgments.
So it's not just AI controlling what we do, it's shaping how we think and perceive the world. That's a pretty unsettling thought. But isn't there a flip side to this? Could AI also be used to, I don't know, enhance our self-awareness or help us be more compassionate?
Absolutely. I mean, imagine AI systems that can analyze, our behavior patterns,
Yeah.
our emotional responses, how we interact, and then give us these insights that we might not be able to see on our own.
Okay.
It's like having a therapist or a life coach, right?
Yeah.
Helping us find our blind spots, challenge our beliefs, and develop more empathy for others.
Now that's a much more hopeful vision. So it seems like AI could both diminish and expand our sense of self? It depends how it's used. Like
Yeah.
it's a double-edged sword.
It certainly is, and that's why it's crucial to approach AI with both caution and optimism.
Mm-hmm.
We need to see the potential risks, but also be open to the possibilities.
Okay.
The key is making sure AI is designed with human well-being at its core.
It's about finding that balance,
Yes.
embracing AI's potential to make our lives better while also, safeguarding against its risks.
Exactly. And that requires us to actively shape the future of AI. We got to engage in these conversations, ask the tough questions, and demand that these technologies are used to benefit everyone.
We've explored the power of stories, the rapid advancement of AI, and how it could impact our sense of self, both individually and collectively. So where do we go from here?
Well, the future's not set in stone.
Yeah.
We're creating it with every choice we make, every line of code, every conversation about technology's role in our lives. The key is to be mindful, to be engaged, and to never stop questioning.
It's a call to action, isn't it?
Yeah.
We need to educate ourselves, demand transparency, and be active in shaping the future of technology.
Exactly. And remember, it all starts with awareness.
Right.
The more we understand these technologies, the better we can make choices and advocate for a future that reflects our values.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We've covered so much, but this is just the beginning of the conversation. Key to exploring these ideas, ask your own questions, and be a part of shaping the future of humanity in the age of AI.